Well, we're back for some more Bleach Soul Resonance, and we're going to be looking at a few things, various things. So, one is the sort of demonstration of True Shikai Ichigo's walking around model, his, the zone he's going to be occupying, because we're getting a TYBW map, which is crazy. I'm surprised, honestly, that we're getting a TYBW map, but, hey, I guess we're you know, all aboard the TYBW train for the next 2 months or something like that. We're in. We're like really in, so that's gonna be really cool. But let me go ahead and move over to something like these. There we have it. So we can see the map here, and we'll just let this play a bit. Ooh, not the best quality, but this is uploaded by the Bleach Soul Resonance news account. Go ahead and swing over there if you want daily, or at least most days, BSR news, speculations, leaks, etc. Pretty sweet. I mean, he has a really good model. Let me just like look at this right here. I would say that this is a pretty top tier model. I know again that it is grainy, but when you compare it, and hopefully my capture works. Oh, my capture never works. When you compare it, as I was saying, to the models already in game, granted again that we don't have the full, you know, quality. There are a few models that stand out. The newer ones, obviously, like the Resurrection and Segunda Etapa models, definitely looking a bit like more like those. A lot of flowing fabrics and the like. A lot of great just visual clarity, especially when you move over to the actual Segunda Etapa, which is, he's over here. And, you know, he's got his weapon and the like out, and it's, you know, just a lot of vibrancy in the modeling itself. So as far as that goes, I'd say that Ichigo is looking very good. I love the weapons. The weapons look great. I'm glad they removed the sheath. Apparently there was a sheath at one point that was on his model. I think it would have cluttered it a little too much. Yeah. He looks really good. The map looks pretty good too. Again, we'll see it more definitively when we get the actual in-game, you know, renders and the like, and we see some higher quality. But for now, I'd say, you know, thumbs up. Thumbs up, Bleach Soul Resonance. You're doing very well. Yeah, if it's anything like this, I mean, this is so clean. Like, one thing they do need to change is whatever green they're using for Olkieta here, I think messed up the greens in game, and it's making everything black. But, you know, hopefully that'll be fixed whenever True Shikai Ichigo stuff starts. But let us move on over then to... So, as many of you know who follow Giku, which is the majority of my followers, I believe, because we're, you know, sort of interlinked when it comes to followers. New typing possibly on the horizon, and this is sort of the big thing I wanted to comment on. We have Undercover Ichigo here saying, new typings question mark. With the possibility of a new typing, what are some predictions you guys have for the next typing or the one after? I think that maybe the next typing, or maybe in the distant future, there'll be a typing that's universal. People have discussed it being for the Quincies, and in the future, I think we'd get full bringers as supports tactics, maybe even a universal typing. And since there's the possibility of a new typing, it would make sense, in my opinion, for there to be a new standard SSR. Quincies, maybe semi-universal. They'd probably also do ailment damage, like a mix between Spirit and Thrust. Full bringers, universal support, tactics could honestly work. Squad 0 could be a horrible idea, but what if having only one Squad 0 member on the team gives additional buffs exclusive to the character? Maybe for Oetsu, it'll be his crit rate. Hifukune could maybe get a buff to a possible healing ability. Having them all on one team would work perfectly fine, but having them separated would give a buff that's worth considering. Kind of like... So am I maybe thinking, if I'm reading this correct, kind of like something like the Ultras in Dragon Ball Legends, maybe, where it's like you could run multiple Ultras, but there is only one Ultra getting that, you know, big buff, essentially. And after doing all light novel and a manga characters like BBS, they could do what ifs in different typings or just redo them. Would it make sense for them 3 years later not to have a new Bankai Ichigo when redoing characters? Maybe they should keep their OG stamps. So, I got some thoughts on this. One, I don't really think... First of all, first and foremost, we do not need a new typing right now. As it stands, and I go to this screen all the time, but as it stands, we do not even have full teams yet. So, if I were to, you know, click here, This is not technically a full team because this character is not Strike. While I do think that I care less about typings than other people in the Bleach Soul Resonance space, for me, it would be nice still to see a character of every type have an SSR before we see it in completely new typing. One of the problems we're going to run into immediately then, if we start doing new typings, is Ichigo, Trishikai Ichigo, Thrust. Slash is now going to be without an SSR support for a very long time. A very long time. A proper limited SSR support for a very long time. They would have also gone back on their own promise of not introducing multiple of the same typings in a row. You look at that Jey Uso. Want to run it back? Should I run it back? Yeah, multiple in a row. Which is, I mean, it's a good metric to keep. I mean, one character every 3 weeks. One character every 3 weeks. Let's say Trishikai Ichigo comes out. Okay. Then we get Yuryu. He's Quincy Tactic. Or Stern Ritter Tactic. Or, you know, just Spirit Tactic. Whatever. But he's over here. Now we get another character. Let's say it's one of the girly pops. I mean, we know it's going to be one of the girls. So let's just put Rangiku here. She's Quincy. And then after that, another Quincy is the same color. So we would have just released 3 characters of the same typing. All while Slash does not have its support. All while Strike does not have its support. And all while Okieta is still waiting for a proper Aizen replacement. It just seems, I didn't even mean to click that. It just seems a bit odd to me. Though I do think a new typing could fit in the game overall. This is obviously going to be a very special case, but the other issue with doing something like this right now is that when are we getting the Quincies? So they could do a new typing, sure. A void typing. You know what I mean? Void Reishi typing. Sonido typing. Whatever you want to say. But the big issue becomes after Yuryu, after whoever ends up coming in part 3 and 4, when are we returning here? Because remember what they said. We're not going straight to TYBW after this. We're going back to here. Shueisha has said to them, and we've been told by them, that unless something has changed. If something has changed, then I back off. But Shueisha has said that they want Arrancar in the game. They want Arrancar. If that's the case, then we're not going, back down here into this. After these 3 characters, which they could make it 3 of the same typing, 3 all new typings. It's very special. It's just for TYBW. It's just a big collaborative celebration. They don't return to it at all for maybe a year and a half. Maybe a year and a half. Maybe something like that. Think about that. They don't return to it all for a while. A while. So that team will just stay there as that team for a long, long time. I would almost prefer that Yuryu becomes the Spirit Tactic. Maybe the 2 Bambi girls get a typing to themselves. And then I guess they just use Yurahara. I mean, why not? But the reason the typing stuff seems a little scary, seems a little sketchy, really does just come down to what do they do? Where do they go after? Right? It's after this, they've made their bed if they go new typing. Though I would say my landing spot for new typing would be Anniversary. Hollow typing, Void typing, Reishi typing, blah blah blah. Whatever they want to go with. Make a team of I don't know. Make a team of Hollow or Vastalord Ichigo +1 or something, whatever. One last thing I want to go over though is this person had a nice idea. I'd like to see, I've talked about this before. I'd like to see them add categories at some point, similar to Dokkan, but I still think it's a bit too early for that. Category-based teams would be cool, like different squads at Ankara, Fullbringers, or maybe even arc-based categories. Like I said, though, I think it's still a bit too early. It is a bit too early. It is a bit too early. But team building does need a little help, because right now, we are currently in the age, and this is a thing that all new gacha have, all new mobile games have, all early stage mobile games will suffer from this. Right now, we're on put the best characters on the best team, and it doesn't lead to the most interesting team building, because, again, you can feel Aizen not work perfectly with this team. You could feel it. It's obvious. And you would feel that be the same case if you were to make a team that's like Toshido. But you know what Toshido could use, and I've posited this a lot, is Bankai Rukia. And you know what, I don't know, like Kenpachi could use, that's maybe would look something like this, is limited SSR Yachiru. But let's say limited SSR Yachiru doesn't quite work as well if you want to use Bankai Ichigo. Does that make sense? Whereas maybe something like this could be buffed when you release SSR Old-Man Zangetsu or SSR Orihime, even if she's not on color, because it's just like her connection with Ichigo, right? I would like to see stuff like that. I like team building. I like team building around characters who match. I don't know if you guys have ever done this, but in fighting games, whenever there'd be like a team-based fighting game, a versus game or something like that, I really liked using characters that had some kind of like lore with each other. Like Dragon Ball Fighters. I played Dragon Ball Fighters, and even though I also used the characters that were just strong, I also kind of liked having like theme teams. I liked using Cell and then also having like Super Saiyan 2 Gohan and stuff like that. I just think it's cool. I think it's cool. I think it's fun. So it would be cool to have like these characters match. I mean, we already see that to some degree with stuff like this, but yeah, I would like at some point to see a return, because remember how cool this felt? Remember how cool this felt when this game first released? Like this shit right here, or even if we got a proper version of this at some point, oh my god, peak. One thing we thought was gonna happen but didn't end up happening was something like, you know, like something like this essentially, or even this would have been really cool. But you know, c'est la vie. Yeah, I would love team-based teams, or like character-based teams, category-based teams or something at some point, more than I'd probably like a new typing at the moment. But if we do see one, I don't expect it to be updated for a long time, so it could just be a collaborative, fun thing. I expect them to be absolutely broken if that's the case, but it would also bring to mind, what do? Do you just make an entire new tower? Do you just make an entire new Frenzy Feast? Do you just make an entirely blah, like over and over and over? Like, what do you do? So, we'll see. That's going to be some yaps for today, but I've been Lone. Like if you like the video, subscribe to the club, we'll go make it, and peace.